We do. That's your problem.
This cold weather has brought out the inventive side of people who love hummingbirds. They've been doing some extra work to make sure the delicate bird is very well fed. We have that and what you could do. Just ahead. I am crazy about Canada. So, why does my mother flatly refuse to become a Canadian?
No.
Maybe I'll finally understand why Ireland itself holds such a special place in her heart.
Once an immigrant, tonight at 9 on the first hand.
Hey! Have you ever wondered if you can separate yourself from the pack? You have speed, power, endurance, strength, enough to rise to the top? How about enough to train with the best in the nation? Enough to compete on the world stage? RBC Training Ground is back. We're coming to BC in search of Canada's future Olympians. Register today. rbctrainingground.ca.
I lost my only son, Jordan, at age 25 to complications of an opioid addiction. Fentanyl is killing across the board. It is killing people who are seasoned addicts. It is killing people who are recreational users. If I knew then what I know now, I believe he would be alive. He would have had a chance. People who have children that they think might be at risk must act immediately.
To those who keep us safe, smiling, smart, and warm. You make all our days better and deserve nothing but the best to start yours. That's why every cup of Tim Hortons Premium Blend coffee is made from high-quality 100% Arabica beans from the finest coffee regions, expertly blended and roasted to deliver that distinctively rich and smooth taste. And it's why we serve it fresh, always. You are why we do what we do. You are why we brew.
What we will be presenting to the Canadian people is the concept of a dynamic, progressive Canada.
The United States ambassador to Canada has resigned, a victim of the new Trump administration. During his time in Canada, Bruce Heyman has worked to strengthen the already close relationship between our two countries. Ambassador Heyman bids farewell to Vancouver tomorrow on the early edition. Finally tonight, let's fly to Chilliwack, where this winter's unusual cold snap has prompted a lot of concern for some local wildlife. A year-round resident here on the south coast, the Anna's hummingbird has been having a hard time with this winter weather. The small insects that they use for food are simply gone, and the feeders set up by their loyal fans have been freezing. But that hasn't deterred people trying to lend a helping hand, as you can see, being it setting up heaters to keep sugar water from freezing, or getting very close and feeding them by hand. For more on the hummingbirds, we are joined by the bird expert, Mark Eburn with Wild Birds Unlimited. Mark, how are hummingbirds affected by these colder temperatures?
Well, the hummingbirds have to work a little bit harder to find their nectar, their calories. There are wild plants that they can eat on right now, but they certainly enjoy the feeders that everybody has been putting out for them. They'll take great advantage of the sugar nectar that we've done.
What kind of difference does that make? I mean, is this people putting these feeders out and people holding the birds in their hand as they feed? I mean, is this kind of a make or break for these birds? People need to do this?
It's not a make or break. We do most of this for our enjoyment. We enjoy seeing the birds, and sustainability is not really dependent on us. There is a small percentage of the food that actually comes from the feeders that we're providing. It's a little bit higher at this time of the year, but throughout the year, the birds are very self-sustaining. So we draw them into our gardens and into our yards because we enjoy them, and it's a treat to have them there.
How healthy is the population of hummingbirds in this province?
I don't have any exact numbers on there, although I know that it is rising, and some of the experts that we've talked to say that the sustainability, the population of hummingbirds has grown. We have the Anna's hummingbird that's here all year round, and people are reporting them further and further out into the valley on the island, where the Rufous hummingbird, which migrates here in the spring, usually mid-March, is actually staying later in the fall now. So there may be a movement to them staying through the winter as well. But that'll take some time.
Why do you think those hummingbirds are sticking around in BC longer?
Well, if you're talking about the rufous, I think it is a lot of opportunity for them to nest and thrive in the urban areas where there is a lot of population and a lot of plants that they can survive on. The Annas have been here for about 15 years over the winter, and I think it's just a matter of the food that's available, and the climate has something to do with it, but probably not as much as we think. They don't know what the climate will be, so it's more on the environment that they can survive in is why they're staying here longer, and certainly why they stay over the winter now.
Mark, for somebody who wants to put out a feeder, whether it's for hummingbirds or others, what are those, maybe just a couple of tips on what they should do and what they should not do?
Well, the biggest one for the hummingbirds is it's a 4-to-1 nectar, 4-to-1 water to sugar. So 4 cups of water, 1 cup of sugar is the recipe, and you can use that through the winter and through the summer. And you want, at this time of the year, of course, you want to keep it thawed out. A lot of times it will freeze overnight, so bring it in at night, put it back out in the morning, and if you can put another one out 3 o'clock type of thing, then the birds will be able to get a good source of energy for the nighttime as well. As far as the other birds go, keep your feeders clean, keep them fresh, keep them up high so that the other predators, cats and things can't find them. And for your ground feeders, you want to keep your seed to a minimum on the ground so it doesn't attract any squirrels or other unwanted rodents that are there. So keeping it clean, keeping it fresh, you can enjoy the birds all year round here.
Good advice, Mark Ebert. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
At a buzzy song?
Good facts.
Yeah, fast facts.
I was taking them all in.
That's right.
My parents actually have seen those hummingbirds through the winter. They were noting them this morning on the North Shore.
Is that
So they've
right?
got the sugar water out, but hopefully they listen to more tips.
That's right. Keep them alive.
Exactly.
You can always find our newscasts online at cbc.ca/BC. Your next local news is after the National with Sandy Fletcher at 11 o'clock. Good night.
Good night.